Hey everybody, it's Party Elite, and today, thanks to an early access key from the folks over at Paradox, we're taking a look at the brand new Fate of Iberia DLC for Crusader Kings 3. While you might think your start choices are pretty limited given the Iberian focus, the video today will go a bit beyond the peninsula and will highlight what I think are some of the best storytelling opportunities and decisions worth chasing, and how you can go about chasing them. If you're looking to grab the DLC for yourself, don't hesitate to use the link in the description and pinned comment down below to help support the channel as you do, and if you enjoy this kind of video, feel free to let me know down below with a like and a comment. Now, with no more time to waste, let's begin. The Duchy of Gascogne, 867. Let's kick this list off outside of the peninsula, if only just. Duke Anso III the Terrible is an interesting figure in this time period, also known as Duke Sancho III Mitara, often shrouded in mystery and supposedly a renowned warrior of the era, something you'll see reflected in your education trait and starting perk, which will always be martial in nature, though the specifics will be different across multiple new games. He founded the line under which the region became effectively independent of Frankish kings, and this is something you can engage in yourself as well as a bit of historical rewriting. Though you start as a complete outsider to the struggle in Iberia, it isn't difficult to insert yourself pretty quickly. Navarra is relatively easy pickings, and your conquest of Navarra opens the doors to the Iberian struggle. All you need to do is conquer even one county and move your capital to it, though I'd recommend taking the entire kingdom and finding a better spot for your capital instead. Unless you're moving your capital to your primary title's de jure capital, you can only move your capital once in a lifetime, so you don't necessarily want to rush this decision too much. With your capital within the struggle region, you'll immediately become involved since your starting culture and faith are both involved. This means you'll be able to take advantage of the current phase's benefits, you won't have the negatives associated with being an outsider or an interloper, and you'll be able to influence the progression of the struggle as well. As an involved party, you'll have easier access to making alliances with folks of other faiths who are also involved, and you'll be able to buy claims in exchange for piety. You'll also have access to more and cheaper casus belli, as well as cheaper mercenaries and more besides, all depending on how the struggle progresses between phases, of course. You can use all these advantages to take the north of Iberia, forming alliances as needed to counter the diplomatic moves of your neighbors. Taking on Al-Andalus will be a challenge, and gaining independence is also a hard fight that'll require you to make friends or get hooks to force members into joining an independence faction against your liege, but these tougher wars make for a very interesting way to end the playthrough. Ultimately, as an independent lord, you'll be able to end the struggle as long as other prerequisites are met, and this should also net you an achievement. The alternative option here is to stay as an outsider, never move your capital into the struggle area, and then focus on consolidating power to form the Empire of Francia, which will allow you to use the Iberian foothold decision instead, ending the struggle from beyond the peninsula. Finally, for something completely different, you can choose to champion the faith of the country Basque, converting to and otherwise bringing back a dead faith, and acquiring a new nickname and some new traits, as well as the opportunity to adjust the faith in some ways. You already hold a significant part of the prerequisite Old Vasconia, and you'll still need to war for independence, but this serves as a very cool midpoint for your playthrough. The Emirate of Tulaytulah, 867. This can be a dangerous run, but if you're able to overcome some of the initial struggles, there's much glory to be gained. You start at war with your liege, the Sultan of Al-Andalus. You're the war leader in this war for independence, supported by the Emirate of Portugal. Together, you're strong enough to take on your Sultan, and your closest alliance options are unlikely to join your war. Fortunately, as an involved member of the struggle, mercenaries are very cheap during the opportunity phase, and you can use this to tip the balance in your favor. If you quickly improve your relationship with Asturias, you can also request their military assistance, though it can be quite pricey. With victory comes independence, and then there are easy pickings to your immediate north, war with Portugal to your west, and then more war against your former liege to the south, though again, you'll need allies for that. As you grow in strength, you can explore some of the new options as a clan ruler as well, such as individual obligations, and it's fun to pursue appoint a righteous caliph, especially if you try to get the Saeed trait for your future generations to accomplish the task instead of some of the other options that are presented here. On the topic of future generations, you can also send your heirs for education and a cultural conversion to bring back the Visigoths, though Bear in mind, doing so will remove your involved status in the struggle, making you an interloper instead, and while you'll still be able to end the struggle as an interloper, you'll lose out on most of the benefits, and your actions won't directly influence the progression between phases either. Barring the decision to become Visigothic with future generations, casus belli are cheap and easy to come by, you're involved in the struggle right off the bat, and you can move rather quickly in all directions depending on how you'd like to end the struggle. The County of Montaigu, 867. Count Hestine is always a fun playthrough, and this holds true with the Fate of Iberia DLC too. While there are countless options with this guy, I'm trying to stay focused on the DLC and free update content, so what I'd recommend is a Varangian adventure against Al-Andalus, or Asturias, to kick things off while moving your capital, making you an instant interloper in the struggle right away. You can secure a decent bit of land with either target, though the Duchy of Kurtuba is particularly profitable, and its central location gives you many directions in which to grow. The Conquest casus belli available to you will make growth extremely fast, and don't forget to use your special troops to bolster your strength, and while you can opt to stay as an interloper and still end the conflict in due time, you might want to convert your culture and faith and get directly involved, or have your children adopt local customs through education instead, so when their time to reign comes, they'll be directly involved in the struggle, influencing its phases, gaining more benefits, and ending the struggle from within. The Almoravid Grand Emirate, 1066. This is probably the easiest start in this video, giving you a large starting kingdom surrounded by weaker realms to conquer, and an empire you're a third of the way to forming right from the start. You also have plenty of clan vassals with whom to check out some of the new obligation mechanics being introduced with the free update. If you want to become an interloper in the Iberian Struggle, there are some very easy pickings in southern Iberia, and if you want to become involved, you just need to move your capital into the peninsula. Remember, you can only move your capital once per lifetime, unless you're moving it to your primary title's de jure capital, so time that decision accordingly. Again, I'd suggest Kurtuba as your new capital, as it is quite a valuable city, and one you'd like to keep a hold of even as succession hits your realm. Whenever you decide to do this, you'll immediately become an interloper in the struggle, as your culture does not match the prerequisites. Adopting the culture of your newly moved capital is an easy decision though, and once done, you'll become involved, which means you'll be able to help push the phases around based on your actions while taking advantage of the various benefits, unique interactions, and cheaper and more readily available casus belli, all while avoiding the disadvantages of being an interloper. Again, as with the previous section, here as well you can opt to have your heirs instead become involved, converting their culture through education if you can find the right person to educate them and again change their culture over the course of said education. You can end the Iberian Struggle as an interloper or as an involved participant as you hit the various prerequisites, and if you'd prefer, you can instead form the Empire of Maghreb and maintain only a foothold in the peninsula, looking to make the Iberian foothold decision to end the struggle instead. You'll need to actively pursue religious conversions for a dominance or Iberian foothold conclusion to the struggle, though the other two ends to the struggle will not require such religious activities. So keep that in mind as you plan the overall approach you take to the Iberian Struggle, whether you're involved, an interloper, or a complete outsider. There are a few ways to play this start, and if you'd like to go further than the Iberian Peninsula, it's always fun to avenge the Battle of Tours, or again, you can go in the other direction and try to unite Africa instead. The County of Kulumriyya, 1066. This is probably the toughest start in this video, but a very unique one too. If you're able to gain enough momentum, consolidating your power and overcoming the challenges in the area can feel very nice. As the only Mozarabic ruler in this start date, you have some local holy sites that you can pursue, and a bunch of interesting decisions to chase after too. Binding the faith to Rome is a fun task, though there's something to be said for breaking with Rome and getting your own head of faith instead as well. There's a long path before you get there though. Your smaller fellow vassals will be the initial targets for conquest using the struggle clash casus belli you have access to as an involved participant, or you can try to gain hooks on your fellow vassals and fabricate a claim to your liege's throne instead, an option available to you even without the meritocracy perk, as again, you're actively involved in the struggle. Worth noting here is that your culture's ritualized friendships tradition allows you to use the befriend action and even turn friends into best friends, the latter of which gives you a strong hook to use for things like inviting people into your claimant faction. Whichever way you opt to do it, taking your liege's throne will give you the Duchy of Portugal, and then with the help of some foreign allies or perhaps mercenaries obtained for the reduced price resulting from your struggle involvement, you can take on the King of Galicia through an independence war or by claiming his throne. If he's got enough allies, this can be a real challenge, so make sure to have friends of your own or enough money for plenty of mercenaries. The struggle will allow you to try for alliances outside of your faith, so keep an eye out for friends in the south if needed, though France is a viable option right from the start of the game as well. These same friends can come in handy against the remaining kingdoms in the northern parts of the peninsula, and you'll eventually want to take the Valaya or the Taifa of Tulaytulah to either convene the Council of Toledo or establish the Kingdom of Toledo respectively, as long as you have the other prerequisites in place as well, of course. After that, you can proceed with the struggle as you see fit, bringing it to an end in due time. And there you have it. 5 great starts that are worth checking out with the new Fate of Iberia DLC and the free updates coming with it. Whether you're starting in the Iberian Peninsula or just outside of it, there are some fun approaches to take from any of the multiple sides of the conflict, and if you enjoyed this video or have any thoughts of your own you'd like to add, feel free to leave a like and a comment down below letting me know. Again, you can grab the DLC at the link in the description down below if you haven't already, and doing so will support the channel as you buy, and apart from that, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel for more Crusader Kings and general strategy gaming content as well. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big ol' thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.